All right, how y'all doing today? Welcome back to the 3V Leader Show. That's right, the visible, vocal, and valuable leader show with your man Charlie Caswell. Right here, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Some of the best hip hop, rap, R&B, and gospel soul on rap98.com all around the world. But we're here today, as you know, in Shelby County. We've been here all week doing some great shows, and with our Shelby County commissioners, as we focus on Commissioner Week, we have today with us in the studio our very own chairman of the Shelby County Commission, Van Turner of District 12 here in Shelby County. How's it going?
Man, it's going well. It's good to be here with you, Pastor.
Man, I appreciate it. And those who know yesterday's show, we had your colleagues here with us, Commissioner Tammy Sawyer, District 7, and Mikael Lowry, District 8. So I hope you can top some of the great things that they are doing in their district for your district. There's no doubt that your district is on the way on the other side of the county from them. But it's exciting, man, you know, that you are not just doing county commission work. You're also an attorney that they have been involved with something very historical in our city. But tell the people who are first time listening, maybe first time seeing you, because I want to tell you, brother, we got listeners all over Africa. They are tuned in to what we are doing here, especially talking with people like yourself that's being visible, vocal, and valuable. Tell the people who you are and your role here in Shelby County.
Well, I appreciate that, Pastor. So I'm a native of Memphis. I was born and raised in Whitehaven, which is in the southwest area of Memphis. And I attended public education the entire time. I graduated from Whitehaven High School.
We ain't going to hold that against you.
Don't hold it against me. My father was actually an educator. He taught algebra at Whitehaven, and my mother was a guidance counselor at Treadwell High. And so I come from two retired educators with the Memphis City Schools, and currently my wife is a guidance counselor within the district, the Shelby County Schools. So there's a lot of education in my background, and that's why I appreciate and support and advocate for education all the time. So after I left high school here, I went to Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. I was there from 93 to 97. And when I graduated Morehouse, wasn't quite ready to go to law school. So I took 2 years off and I taught English in Japan. So I was located in Tsurushi, Yamanashi-ken, Japan. And that's actually one of the 5 prefectures or states which surround Mount Fuji. I had the great opportunity to climb Mount Fuji twice within those 2 years I was there. And I traveled all throughout Southeast Asia and really gained a good and fresh perspective on Western culture and the United States of America. And I was able to do so from the vantage point and the eyes of being outside of the country and being on the outside and looking in. So did that for 2 years and then came back and attended law school at the University of Tennessee College of Law. I obtained my law degree in 2002. Promptly moved back into the city, married my junior high school sweetheart.
Oh, man, all the way to junior high.
We met at 14 at Havenview, and then we both attended Whitehaven High. She was my prom date at Whitehaven. So we got married in 2002, had 3 kids, and so here I am as a lawyer from that standpoint. I got involved with the Democratic Party in 2007, parliamentarian, then chair. Ran for county commission in 2014, won. Ran again last year in 2018, was reelected to my last 4-year term, and now I am the chair of the county commission, and I'm so appreciative of my 12 other colleagues voting me in as chair. And we are really doing some great work at the county.
Well, there's no doubt, man, that you're a sharp young man in the work that you do. Did you learn any Japanese while you was over there?
Yeah, I learned a little bit.
Tell them all my Japan people.
So I would say konnichiwa, and then and if I were to say my name in Japanese, I would say Van Des. That means I'm Van. Of course, if I were to ask you your name, it would be Namae wa nan desu ka, and you would say Coswell Des, or Charlie Des. I'm Charlie, or I'm Coswell. And you know, basically just enough to get around. That was between 97 and 99, so of course I've lost a lot of it. And it was just a very unique experience.
I know a little bit Japanese too. It's called sushi.
Right.
Yeah, but man, I tell you that's a truly amazing. Again, it's a far jump from the background that God has allowed me to, but it's how God do entwine and bring people back together for such a time as this, man. So now you said, did you run for elected office before county commission, or that was your first time?
That was my first time. Yeah. I sort of had to put on a campaign to run for party chair. Yeah. That was in 2009. I was inspired by the recently elected President Barack Obama in 2008.
Okay.
And it was just a time of change. It was a time of hope. Yeah. And I essentially stated that, I think this is the time that I would like to be chair of the Democratic Party. So I was blessed to go to the inauguration of President Obama. And when I came back in 2009, I ran for party chair and I won. Okay. And I ran again in 2011. It's 2-year stints. Yeah. And I won re-election. And after 13, I decided that I wanted to run for office as county commissioner. And I did that.
As Pastor Ricky Floyd put it this way, that if you are a pastor or politician, you're a glutton for punishment.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're asking for it. So how do you deal with that? Because the thing is that many times you think you feel that you're helping, and people still attack you in the capacity that you feel like you're making some type of impact for them. You're trying to help people, but their attacks are there. How do you adjust and be able to deal with that?
So when I, of course, studied law at the College of Law, University of Tennessee, I took trial practice. Okay. And I focused on litigation and trial practice. And when we learned how to present a trial before a jury, we were oftentimes instructed to put ourselves in the seat of the jurors. Okay. And you have to identify with them, empathize with them, and walk in their shoes in order to better present your case to them. Yeah. So I use those lessons as an elected official, and when people come to me, they don't come to me for any personal disdain or hate. They're in need. They're suffering. There's pain on the other end, and they're crying out for help. And that's how I approach it. So, you have to fight all your knee-jerk reactions to be angry, to be defensive, to snap back or clap back at them. Yeah. And you have to, I think, put yourselves in their shoes and really identify with, as best as possible, with the pain, the hurt, the struggles that they're going through. Right. And, you have to advocate and fight for them and be a person that understands what they're going through. Yeah. And you have to go back to the county commission office and try to turn that hurt, that pain, all of what you just took from them into good policy to address their needs and concerns. The fortunate thing about policy is if you see the trends, if you see what's going on, it's not just that one person that's hurting. Yeah. There are a group of people that are out there that are in that same position. So your policy has to be sweeping enough to address all of the concerns and needs
across the
board. Not just that one person, but all persons who are perhaps affected by what that one person is going through. Right. So I cherish this opportunity to create good policy to assist this community, which I love so dearly. And it's I always say this is the people's seat. Yeah, yeah. I'm just a seat holder for 8 years. Yeah. And then when my time is up, I move out the way and another person comes. Right. Because the people have to decide who they want there to represent them. It's not my seat. Yeah, yeah. It's the people's seat. Right. And I have to take care of it for these 8 years and make sure that I'm doing all the things necessary to provide for, to care for, and to advocate for the advancement of not only District 12, but for every citizen within Shelby County.
And so I know that there's no doubt in being the chairman that you got to juggle now all of these people, their districts, and what it is that they are needing, the equity, and therefore. But tell us about your district. What area do District 12 represent in that capacity?
So District 12 is a newly created single-member district. 2014 was the first year in which single-member districts on the county commission were enacted.
So were they super districts before?
Yeah, okay. We had super districts before, and we only had one single-member district, which was District 5, but everything else was a super district. Okay. Yeah, and so essentially we changed from that, and everybody represents a single district. Yeah. My district picks up at Mount Moriah, and some of your listeners may not know, but it's southeast Shelby County, and it tracks what we call Bill Morris Parkway.
Yeah, yeah.
And essentially, I go from Mount Moriah to Hacks Cross,
okay,
which is all along that Parkway line.
Yeah.
And my most southern end is Mississippi. So I go right up to the state line road for the state of Mississippi. My northern end is basically Germantown. I don't cross over to Germantown.
Okay.
My most eastern line is Hacks Cross. Once you go past Hacks, you start going more into Carterville, suburban county. And then again, my western line is Mount Moriah, which is really the heart of Hickory Hill.
Yeah.
Hickory Hill, as you know, has a storied history within this community.
Yeah.
For some time, it was known as the place to be. People in the 80s moved into Hickory Hill. It was thriving. And, of course, as you know, it's taken a hit.
Yeah.
The mall was hit by a storm or tornado. And once the mall shut down, Hickory Ridge Mall, it really decimated that area of town. And so we're on the rebound. We're trying to come back as the case may be. So that's what we're working on.
I think even too before the storm, when you had a lot of the Hope 6 projects and the projects closing down and Section 8 vouchers and Hawaii Flight and people began to move out in that community, it took a hit.
It took a hit.
And value of homes and things started to drop. Just like what we saw enlarged in Frazier in the Raleigh area because of North Memphis that did that. So with the progression and with the fact that we want to move these areas forward, how do you see investments can be done to bring those areas? Because now it's not just so much building a building, it's mindsets of people. There's that old saying is you can take a person out of the project, but you can't take the project out of the person. How do you move in with a strategic plan, deal with those people to better and bring up the value of that community? Because it's a beautiful district out there.
Oh, yeah, it is. And so, you know, one example that I like to rely upon, so when I was at Morehouse, it's located in what they call SWATS, or Southwest Atlanta. And essentially there's a little area there known as Cascade. I think it tracks Cascade Road. And it's an area where African Americans have gone in and preserved their community. They did not allow their community to go down because of white flight. People running out to Buckhead, areas y'all may have heard of, all out into Marietta and these other parts of Atlanta and the surrounding area, but they preserved that area of town. They kept it up, and now it's back thriving. And I think that's a good example to be used in Hickory Hill, Whitehaven, Frazier, Raleigh. We don't need to let our communities go down just because there's been white flight, businesses have left. We need to go in and have the concept of renewing our own communities, buckling down and protecting and making sure that we are helping to refurbish what's ours. And so I think we have to have we have to have a commitment to where we live, and we have to have a commitment to the communities from which we have come. And we can't necessarily abandon those communities. That means investing in those communities, making sure that you have strong homeowners associations, which then make sure that people are cutting their yards, not having broken down cars in their lawn, that they're doing what they have to do to keep up their properties. Then you move into the commercial areas, and we have to make sure that we are setting a stage where we're attracting businesses back into those communities. And if those businesses don't come back, we open our own businesses and we provide for the needs and concerns of those communities. Sit-down restaurants, dry cleaners, various other businesses that all communities need. Fresh fresh fruits and vegetables at grocery stores. And so we have to take that blighted property and turn it into something, re-envision it, turn it into something, work with those churches that are oftentimes next to these blighted properties. And make sure that we create those business relationships that will also, advance what the church wants, but in the same time advance what the community needs. Daycare centers, senior living homes, quality, quality living spaces for vulnerable members in our communities.
But when we speak about investment, no doubt you spoke about this the other day when you was at the Rotary Club, downtown club. You was talking about the investment that even though county budgets is almost $1 billion, you're looking at probably 1% that's going back into the black community as far as investments there. What is a chairman? I mean, I know it's hard. You got to juggle some balls to make it. But what are you doing? What is this body doing that give this mayor something that brings some equity back to African Americans and others who are trying to start business and grow that capital? Because when you talk about Atlanta, man, Atlanta is a situation in which I know I lived there in 2000, but if it wasn't for Mayor, what's his name, Mayor
Maynard Jackson,
when the airport situation came that demanded 30% of African American contract. See, you know, I feel like, and I'm gonna let you answer that question to that though. Even when we look at Union Row and the $950 million deal, if we don't put that in writing on the front end, we miss that opportunity. Billions of dollars about to be invested, and people are coming knocking at your doors every day. What are you all doing to strategically say, putting the black people in the game who are staying in this community and not flying out?
Well, we not only want to make sure that those businesses are in on the deal as far as construction, architecture, law, accounting, all the professional services that would need to go in, all of the hard labor services that are needed, but we also want to make sure that African Americans are getting equity out those projects. That means ownership, and so that's how you feed your grandkids. Like if you have a good contract to build something, or you have a good contract to look at the business deals from a legal standpoint, or you have a contract to do the accounting, that feeds you for that year, maybe the second year. You have 2 good years, but after that, you know, you still moving on to get those other deals, which you got to do anyway. But once you have equity, ownership interest in these projects, that's continued money that's coming into your business, into your family. That's called residual income, which means as long as people are renting apartments, living in those areas, owning businesses in those areas, you have an equity stake, which means you get a check out that deal for years to come, and that's how you build wealth in our communities, and that's what we're pushing now. So that we're not only pushing our MWBE program, making sure that black and woman-owned businesses get these opportunities to work on these projects, but we're pushing equity ownership in these deals to make sure that we're creating wealth within our communities. Because when you look at the Atlanta airport and you look at those businesses which are in the airport, those businesses are feeding generations and generations and generations yet to come, because Atlanta, as they say, is probably one of the business airports in the nation, in the world. And so those businesses, which are owned by a lot of African Americans in Atlanta, are getting that residual income and profiting to this day because of the example and the strong stance that Mayor Maynard Jackson took. So we want to find those projects that create residual income opportunities for African Americans and women in this community, so that 20, 30 years from now, those projects are still feeding their businesses and their families. So that's what the focus is now. That's what we're pushing. Union Row has heard us loud and clear. They've set aside equity stake ownership for African American business people, women business owners, to come in and get equity stake ownership in this project, so that there's residual income for years to come. And we need to duplicate that all throughout this county. We need to have the Atlanta airport model repeated over and over and over and over and over again for every project which comes through county and city government.
Because it hurt my heart a lot of times when I look at where we are planted in here, and you know, you listen at the mayor at his State of the Union that we're basically in the heart of America, and the fact that, you know, we don't have a Six Flag, we don't have the children, so they come to Bass Pro, they go back up out of here, you know, but we should be, and I see over across the bridge, the West Memphis mayor, he about to kill it, you know. He said if they don't take advantage of it, I'm about to, he bringing in the new hotel and talking about building the water park. I mean, I have went around this city for years working with the youth, and they had, we need an adventure river, we need a water park. We tell it to our elected officials, it get kicked on down the road. You know, what do we do to change that model, that Memphis become that tourist attraction that's in the heart of America, that can bring these resilient with dollars? Because people, they looking for a vacation that they can't go to Mexico, but they can come here. What do you see on the map, or is anything being put on there?
Well, this is the hub of I would say basketball excellence, right? Now we have Coach Penny Hardaway at the helm.
Yeah.
The University of Memphis Tigers. You have the Grizzlies. That team is here. So we need to really go after sports tournaments. That means creating a complex big enough to hold a national championship baseball tournament, a national championship basketball, volleyball tournament. And so when you do that as a parent of a child who plays competitive soccer, I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
We go to Birmingham along with all these hundreds of other families, and we drop in major money. We stand in all the hotels. We there over the weekend. We eat at all the restaurants.
Right.
We're visiting all the sites of that particular city.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we start because we already have that catch.
Sport. Yeah.
We got basketball. When you think Memphis basketball, names come to bear. You know what I mean? And so I think turning and they once envisioned that for where the Kroc Center is and the old Coliseum is.
Right.
And that's still an opportunity that's out there.
Yeah.
Turn that into where you could host a national basketball championship tournament, and you build your hotels, your restaurant, and your businesses to accommodate all of those hundreds and thousands of families that are coming in. That's one thing that we could do.
Yeah.
I'm right with you on the water park and having various amenities. You and I grew up with a Liberty Land.
Yeah.
And, I mean, where do kids go now for rides and water parks and to have fun over the summer months?
Yeah.
There's nothing here such that you would have a Six Flag or something else later on. There's even – man, we just booked to go to a Wolf River water park, and this is a whole hotel that's connected to a water park. So you go and stay at the hotel, and the water park is
inside
next door.
Right.
The restaurants are in there. You just go and you there the whole weekend. The kids in the water park the whole time.
Yeah.
So bringing something like that to Memphis, I think is good. We need a larger convention center.
Yeah.
We're refurbishing it, but we need to find a way to expand it and to grow it so that we could accommodate conventions that want to come here.
Right.
Look at all the beauty, all the attractions, the rich history, our connection to music, soul music, blues. So if you bring in conventions and we can accommodate them at the convention center and we have adequate hotel space, look at all the sites, the Civil Rights Museum. I mean, once they get here, the zoo, we got them here.
Right.
And I'm a proponent, and we've sent up to Nashville legislation which would allow sports betting, sports gambling. It's something that West Memphis is about to do. It's something that's happening down in Tunica, Mississippi.
All our money going
and
right
all the
over
money is going to Arkansas, Mississippi, where we could have it right down here in our entertainment district, which is Beale Street in downtown. So, we got to push those things and promote those things, and we want to tie that money into education.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. We know Congressman Cohen got that done after many years with the lottery. But I remember some time ago when he tried to get, even off Warford, a horse track or something brought in here in East Tennessee, and Militant fought against it. So do you see them fighting against this?
I'm pretty sure they would do it, but, hopefully we'll have the votes to at least make a real go at it. I'm not in Nashville. I'm not a state rep or a state senator, but certainly I'm hopeful that the Shelby County delegation would promote it and do what they can. And you never can say never. Because 2 or 3 years ago, Commissioner Milton and I pushed a couple of bills which would have legalized marijuana. We pushed something for medicinal marijuana. We also pushed for lighter sentences or no sentences at all for personal use marijuana.
Right.
And
I was a supporter as a preacher of that. I know I took a look slack, but when you see people going to jail for long sentencing for a look bad of weed, you're
wasting time.
We're dealing with their traumatized children because we didn't deal with that small bag of weed.
Exactly. And guess what? Now you got 2 or 3 bills in Nashville pushing medicinal marijuana, re-looking at what's happening because the country is now changing. So I won't never say never. I think that can happen, and we have to push it. And all that helps tourism here in the city. It helps our bottom line in the city and the county, and guess what? The state gets a piece of it too.
So speaking of that too, coming from the state and having a mayor who was the minority whip at the state as a senator, do you feel like he have some leverage with some of those relationships? And is he on board with a thing such as
absolutely?
that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that's wonderful to have Mayor Harris on board, and his relationships with the state are invaluable.
Yeah.
And we want to utilize those relationships to promote Shelby County and the city of Memphis.
Well, I can say this to you, brother Chairman, that you are in such a unique position that you got 8 Democratic people, you got a mirror of it. So really, if you historically don't make nothing happen, nothing ain't gonna happen after this. It's y'all fault.
Yeah.
And I think that it'll be a long time before we see this type of movement happen again. So how do it feel, and do you sense that you are making progress with this new body? And what are some of the things you can say that you're excited that you have seen happen so far with the Shelby County Commission?
Yes. Well, the new detention center was a fight. There were legitimate concerns about it. We got it passed. But you can't say you care for our young people and not do everything possible to rehabilitate them, to address the acute childhood experiences that they are experiencing, and you know, just leave it alone, not let it happen. You have to address it. And so that new detention center will focus on education, focus on rehabilitation, focus on making sure that we address the needs of the whole child. And so I think that that is critical to making sure that when those young people enter into the juvenile justice system, they're in and out, and it's not a lifelong sentence to being an adult in the criminal justice center.
And even as I share with the mayor and others about this, is that may be the only time a structure that these young people see. They're coming out of traumatized in communities and in homes that have never taught them that. So unless we put that opportunity in place, we just send them back to that. And then next thing you know, they're holding us up and robbing or killing, and it's getting a lot worse because that stress continue to go higher and higher. So I think, no doubt, the thinking deeper, as I came and spoke before the county commissioner on, to really think about that trauma and the long-lasting impact. We have enough evidence and research behind this to understand we cannot continue to do things the same. Brother Turner, I just say this, that coming up for us is a lot different from the children that's coming up today. Their resilience is not there. They're being raised by social media, by PlayStation video games, and they don't know what fight look like. You know, I shared it with Congressman Cohen. I had a meeting with him yesterday about the fact, and even as I spoke that day about how my nephew just killed himself, killed his daughter. The next week, my friend's son killed himself, 21 years old. Now last week, another friend of ours, 19, 20-year-old young girl, killed herself. In the African-American community, you don't see that as a norm. Why are our children not fighting for life? Why do they not see vision? And so I feel like many times when you look at the news the other day where it said opium babies are being raised, guess what? Crack babies was being birthed, but we didn't address it.
We didn't address it.
It's time, and I know that the county commissioner took this up, I think, last year on opium and treating that. Where are things right now we're dealing with opium and overdoses in our community?
We're still pushing the lawsuit against Big Pharma. We're going to use that money, hopefully that we can get out of that lawsuit and put that right back into education, put that right back into treatment, put that right back into wraparound services for these challenged and fragile families. And I mean, that's the start of it. It really starts in the home. And you really got it. When we say wraparound, we mean going in and seeing what's wrong with mama, daddy, and baby.
Yes, sir.
Because so much is focused on baby. That you leave the mama and the daddy out.
And they causing it.
And they causing it. Because you can educate that child all day long, but if he's going back to a very challenged home, all that you've poured into that child during the school year comes out.
That's it.
Summertime. And when they have to go and, you know, they're up all night because they don't know what's going on in the home. They're not fed spiritually or physically, and it just becomes an issue. So wraparound services are so important. We have to really address that whole home. And then with strong homes and strong communities, you can really see the benefit of strong education. Because here again, you got to be able to educate children who are at a point where they can learn and focus. If they're hungry, if they're abused, if they're suffering from childhood trauma, they can't learn. And so you got to address all of that, and you got to do it together.
I'm glad you say that, and that's a conversation even some others, even I had with Congressman Cohen and with Commissioner Sawyer on this show, and I put it out there to you because you have a wife that's in education. Educators are there to educate. They're not there to treat trauma. They're not there to help with it. But yet we see now our school system, and hats off to Commissioner Stephanie Love and all of the Shelby County Board Commissioners who next week will be pushing a resolution to pass it to make all schools trauma-informed and trauma-responsive by addressing diverse childhood experiences. I yet say this to you as a commissioner and to all our policymakers, truly look at when that do come out. Because these schools have the number of our children, we don't just give the schools money for programming. The community partners and people out there who are doing the work in the neighborhood, that's where we need to invest, because they're actually doing it. We got evidence that is there. So if we want to holistically address this, stop looking at the churches who's in a city with 48.9% poverty that get more phone calls for paying my rent, paying my light bill, and helping me, plus give my baby some diapers, plus teach me how to be a better parent with no resources. That they're putting that burden on them. So if the school system getting this money, they need to partner and put their resources back into the community. And I ask as a policymaker that you truly look at that, and with your board to say, hey, who out there are doing this work? Because the school system, they'll say this to you. You give us the money, we determine where it go. But don't give them the money. Give it to the people that's in the community to do it. Give them the money to educate our children. We want them to have that. We want them to have lower teacher side. We want the teachers to be paid adequately. We want the teachers to have the support. Man, brother, your wife a teacher, right, guys? I know, man, these teachers are traumatized from the trauma they deal with every day. They need the support. And I'm 100% behind our teachers and educators. I just say that we got to stop playing games with them signing names and saying that we working with these children and you're not. So I, in your leadership role, again, let me just give a shout out to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, route98.com. Again, share this video, share it, because I got Chairman Van Turner, Shelby County District 12 here in the city of Memphis, Tennessee, Shelby County, that's doing some powerful and great work through his leadership. We're going to jump in and talk about what you're doing, what you did with the statue situation. That's a national situation that is being dealt with. But also I want to promote Launchpad. We're right here downtown Memphis in the Toyota Plaza. If you're looking for a place to launch your business in the opportunity zone, you want to give us a call here at 901-620-6788. Again, 901-620-6788. This is an awesome space up here. All of you just come up here. It's nice up here.
Very nice.
And it can help you with launching your business at a very affordable cost. Again, as we're talking about opportunity to get capital and grow your business, this is where you want to do the Launchpad. That's that other banner I got here in the background. But Commissioner, historically, something happened in this city in the middle of the night. All I know, I woke up and seen some statues being lifted and taken away. Confederate statues that was in was Naked
Health Sciences Park. It used to be Forest Park. And Memphis Park used to be Confederate Park.
And then I seen you there. I'm like, where Brother Van Turner? I knew you was a lawyer, but Green Space is your organization that you're over. Tell us about that and what happened with those statues being removed.
So back in the early part of last century, around 1904, you had a period of time that we all know to be Reconstruction. That's when basically the South lost the Civil War. The Union had pretty much controlled what was going on down south. And then as part of a deal, the Union pulled back. The North went back up north and allowed the South to handle its own affairs. And then African Americans were senators and were elected, and there were businesses and colleges. Everything was, on an uptick in many instances for African Americans. And you had the rise of the Ku Klux Klan and these other organizations which served to put black folks back in their place. And at that time, one of their heroes was a former general of the Civil War, Nathan B. Forrest, and he was the first Grand Imperial Wizard for the Ku Klux Klan. And so they placed his statue in the middle of the city of Memphis to intimidate African Americans and to put black folks back in their places. And so soon after they put the statue there, they went into Elmwood Cemetery, dug up the graves, and put Nathan B. Forrest and his wife Mary Forrest remains in that same park, which they named Forrest Park, near that statue. And again, it was to intimidate African Americans. And subsequent to that, every July, the Sons of the Confederate Veterans, the Ku Klux Klan, skinheads, other white supremacist groups will come to the city of Memphis and celebrate Nathan B. Forrest's birthday right there in the park. And so this is the backdrop. In 1964, you have the Civil Rights Act, 65, the Voting Rights Act, which are passed. And then to fight against that and to put black folks back in their place, the Daughters and Sons of the Confederate Veterans of America placed a statue of the Confederate President Jefferson Davis down in what they had called Confederate Park.
Overlooking the river.
So in the two most visible and prominent parks in the city, which were taxpayer funded, you had white superiority, hatred, and this whole notion that blacks are inferior and need to stay in their place as symbols in our community. So here we are, 2018, 50 years after the assassination of Dr. King, right downtown at the Lorraine Motel. The world's eyes were back on Memphis, and the question was presented, would we be another Charlottesville? Protesters, counter-protesters, someone lost their life in Charlottesville. Or would we actually make a move, strike a blow to racism and white superiority and all of this hatred that had been so much tied into the city, which resulted in Dr. King's death. And so the call was made that we were going to make a move. I was asked to start the nonprofit Memphis Green Space, and basically on December 20th, 2017, we were able to remove those statues from both of those parks, and those statues are now being housed in an undisclosed location. The lawsuits have come. We won in the first trial setting. The court ruled that the sale of the parks to Memphis Green Space was legal, and the removal of the monuments was legal. The Sons of the Confederate Veterans appealed that, and now we're at that appellate process. And I'll just throw it out there. You know, our hats must go off to Mayor Jim Strickland, a white mayor who took on, in some respects, an issue that was very painful for black folks. It was painful. It's painful for this entire city, but particularly painful to black people. As a white mayor, he took that on. Up to that point, we've had black mayors who've done a little bit, but not what he was able to do. Mayor Warren was able to change the names of the parks. Under his administration, we went from Forest Park to Health Sciences Park, Confederate Park to Memphis Park, but the statues still remain. Hats go off to Bruce McMullen, the city attorney, city council attorney, Alan Wade, and my colleague on the commission, Tammy Sawyer, take him down 901, Dr. Errol Fisher, take him down 901. But before their protests, you had former Commissioner Walter Bailey, former, the late, great Judge DeArmey Bailey, one of your brothers in the cloth, Lassemba Gray. They all fought like it was going out of business.
So they were laying the foundation.
Laid the foundation for Commissioner Sawyer and Dr. Fisher to come in. And then all of that was laid right in the lap of Mayor Strickland, who could have just said, man, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to just cover it up. We're going to have everybody we can put on the police force down there to make sure there's no issue, but we're not going to touch it. And he touched it. And he authorized it. He sold the parks to Memphis Green Space, the nonprofit for which I'm president. And we were able to get those statues down, and it was a glorious day for the city and the county.
Well, I know y'all got the parks at a pretty good deal. Can I give you a few dollars over that for them parks? I got a good idea for it. But there's no doubt there was a game-changing opportunity. Right. Again, I think that as you go there, that spirit, you can tell it's a different spirit there. It's we understand that and the impact of what slavery and other things done. We talk about historical trauma. We talk about adverse childhood experience, but you talk about the historical trauma that's been on our community, especially Dr. King being killed here. We have to move forward.
We got to.
And I think, no doubt, we're moving forward with leaders like yourself. And now let me ask you this before we get ready to wrap up. What keeps you up at night other than the Confederate brothers at your door trying to get their statues back? What keeps you up at night in doing this work?
Well, man, you oftentimes ask yourself, have you done enough? Mm-hmm. What else can you do? Sometimes, man, you take votes, which are hard votes, and you second guess yourself. Did I do the right thing? That keeps me up at night. And then, man, we live in a community, Pastor, where sometimes you hate waking up in the morning and cutting the news on.
Right.
Because you don't know what has happened.
Yeah.
Right around the corner from you, or in a particular community in which you have to travel later on that day, and you just really cry out that, this safety issue, this crime issue in this city is to the degree that it's in, and you got to wake up saying, well, I'm going to fight every day to make sure that we make positive change and, we at least, save one child a day. Perhaps we can't save every child, but if we can save one child a day, that's making a good change for the future. And that's what you have to do, and that keeps me up at night because you gotta figure out how you're gonna do that every day.
Every day, yeah. So what are the things that you want the people to know? What's the that's happening? What can we be doing as citizens to support the work that you're trying to do, so you won't stay up at night? Because I know it's all in unity, it's all in about coming together that moves the agenda forward. What can we be doing to help you and help the county commission, help Shelby County move forward?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is exactly what you're doing. This is getting the word out. Your work with ACES has been, admirable and outstanding. We appreciate it, and I think that, I think Dr. King had a saying, everyone could be a leader, right? And so essentially, everyone truly is a leader in their own community, within their own families. So we're asking everyone to take their leadership role and to make sure that you're doing what it takes, because when you take care of your family, take care of your neighbors, you then affect the community. And once the community is strong, we have stronger neighborhoods, we have a stronger city and a stronger county. So we're asking everyone to be a leader.
Yeah.
Go say something to that kid that needs a hug or needs to be told, hey, man, you'll look a lot better and you'll have a better take at life if you were to pull those pants up and get you a belt.
Right.
I've been there. I've seen what is ahead for you, and I can tell you right now that if you pull those pants up, you may get some opportunities that will not come your way with your pants at your knees. And so I think that, but we got to be bold enough and courageous enough to step up and just try to effectuate change with the folks that are right there in front of us and we see every day. Then that can create a domino effect where we help to change the community. Also doing what you're doing, coming down to the county commission and advocating for worthy causes is important too. It makes a difference when we have a full auditorium and when it's just one or two people in the auditorium. If there are 50 people down there speaking on the issue with childhood trauma, speaking on the issue of the detention center, speaking on the issue of pre-K, that influences votes because we are hearing from the people and we're up there to hear from the people. So definitely make it your business. Make it your business to come down to the county commission and advocate for important causes within this community.
That's right. February the 26th at the Shelby County School Board, we need 500 plus of you to show up again, just to show our support as this happened. And then you're saying 500 plus, we need to get down to the county commission so that they can support with resources the outcomes that we know are going to come out of those families that are dealing with adverse childhood experience and trauma in this community. We cannot just ask the children what happened and not address it. We must address it if we want to build a resilient community and children that change the next generation in our community. We know what happened. We know the crack age and parents that went to jail for long sentences and left those traumatized children in our community that's now traumatizing the community because their parents are locked up, traumatized. And okay, you got First Step that's going to let them out, but they still haven't dealt with their trauma. They just got even more traumatized. So this Saturday, February 26th, actually tomorrow at 1520 Oakwood Street, Pastor Athel Green, my good friend, there in North Memphis, we'll be holding a Versatility Experience, a Trauma-Informed Summit, where we are educating people and training you, where you can get a certificate to understand it's not what's wrong, yet what happened. Hats off to Rotary Family Youth Initiative who are supporting it and getting mentors to help us address and work with these young people. It takes that collective impact of churches and politicians and pastors and principals to come together to bring about change. Commissioner Van Turner, again, thank you, sir, for being on the show. How can the people get in touch with you, the county commission number?
Yeah, so you can reach us at 222-1000. Again, that number is 222-1000. You can email me directly at van.turner, TURNER, at ShelbyCountyTN.gov.
All right.
Van.Turner at ShelbyCountyTN.gov. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you again, Pastor. This has been a great, great opportunity to get the word out to the people.
They have heard much today, and we thank you again for joining us for the last 3 weeks. And go back to rap98.com, watch this show, share it on your Facebook page, social media, YouTube. Let them know what's happening in Shelby County is moving us forward. God bless you. See you next week. All right, man. Appreciate it.